The following podcast contains spoilers.
Whoa, take it easy, sweetheart. Hear everything they say, ain't you?
Maybe we're not so different. Who are you under there?
This is the Buntarelli Show.
Bob, you and me got a history with Batman. I think still our best show, one of the best shows we did was the Batman trilogy. But you and me both got a special place in our heart for the character. How'd you like this movie, Bob?
I tell you, what, they were smart about it, and they did. It just started going
Yeah.
real quick, which was smart. I like how it just, just like a comic book. I was thinking of it heading to it. I'm like, why do they have such a hard time with Batman redoing it compared to like Spider-Man? Because the second Spider-Man guy didn't take as much flack, I think, as Batman did. But this one, I'm thinking like how they're going to redo the origin story. Like we got to go through, the whole thing with.
Yeah.
It's like, they just got going and just went into it, and they made the story itself interesting enough, like the actual, like, the plot of that particular movie, like the crime story and everything, interesting enough to where it just got you going and you were just in right away. I really enjoyed it.
It was very self-contained. It was like, and I was glued to the screen. I almost wanted to tell you that because I saw it at the time of this recording. I saw it yesterday. You saw it today. And so I was like, you said you're going to see it. And I even wanted to say glued to the screen, but I didn't want to ruin anything. I didn't want to say anything to you. But I was like, first of all, I thought it earned its 3 hours. Because I was just engaged. There was no yawn time in there for me. And maybe looking back at it, you would think differently. But it's, they might have learned something from Spider-Man, where it's like, look, you either know who Batman is, or look it up. We all got the internet. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you know who he is, or look it up. Or I don't know that if I walked in there and didn't know who he was, how much of a difference it would have made. You know what I'm saying? Like, even though we don't know why he's doing what he's doing, it's like, okay, he's a vigilante, he's the prince of this town. Okay, that's what he's doing. He's fighting. I don't need to see this scene and that scene. We don't have to have the Uncle Ben scene, or in this case, not Uncle Ben.
Well, they learned that from Spider-Man. You're saying Uncle Ben because they did the same thing with Tom Holland. It's like, you didn't show the spider bite, you didn't show Uncle Ben. He's still Spider-Man, and it's like, it's okay. He tells you this stuff. Something happened, a spider bit me, and the same thing with this Batman. It's like, they show like he's been working on the Gotham project for 2 years. His parents, they do say how his parents are killed. They're not going to show you the back alley of the theater and the pearls. They didn't go.
Yeah,
actually,
you don't need to see the pearls to know the story. It's just part of the tradition. And just like with Spider-Man, where we're like, okay, even though we didn't see Uncle Ben get murdered, they alluded to it.
Yeah.
And I brought my daughter with me, and she didn't. Nothing fazed her, even though she didn't. It's like, okay, well, you can still know the story. That wasn't a crucial part of it. It was a famous part of it.
And also, how many movies just drop you in where you just see the guy doing his thing before you know the origin, and you're like, "Oh, this guy's cool." So maybe we delve
like
too much
movie.
into that.
It is? It's like James Bond movies.
Yeah,
it's okay. He's an FBI agent. Or not FBI, but he's special agent. And he just goes, okay, he's fighting crime. All right, I'm in. Cool. Yeah, he's jumping off buildings. Awesome. Yeah, and they did it so good. And I got to say, the by far the best looking Batman. The first, when you see him in the suit, oh man, it looks awesome.
Yeah, and
I think the coolest looking one.
Yeah, I think so too. And at first, because when you first see a Batman, it just takes you aback because you're comparing him to what you liked and what didn't like. And I'll tell you the truth, I actually went to watch a clip. For some reason, I was watching Batman clips today, and I saw a clip from Dark Knight Rises. I just saw, and we love that movie, so I'm not like, but I saw that. I'm like, like the new one.
Which one is Dark Knight Rises?
Or Dark Knight, Christian Bale, sorry, Dark Knight.
But his changes. So I don't know which one you're talking about.
Oh, okay, the second one. The one where the one with Joker, the one where he first rides. I watched the entrance scene, but he actually got a costume where he could turn his neck, but he makes the arrival on the motorcycle, like his first appearance, and the cops are like, you're in for a show.
The one where when I seen it, I said to myself, "Oh, that's so he could turn his neck." And it's funny that you said that.
Yeah,
because Yeah, it was like, okay, he's more comfortable. I mean, he doesn't look so good, but
Yeah.
bless the guy.
No, this one looked great. To think about the tone, looking back at it, it was like one big self-contained Batman story. They weren't trying, like we talked before about the triumph of the last Batman trilogy, like Batman Begins was like, it sold us Batman. It made Batman believable. Those were the triumphs of it. And at this point, it's like, well, you guys will believe anything now. Let's just show you this dude and just take you decide how believable it is. And it really immersed you in it. Like you were just in the story. You were like,
you're in the story, and it took away the superhero-ness of it too, and of the other and the other characters. It toned everybody down.
Yes.
And brought them to that Gotham level. And the Gotham world was so much cooler, and I liked how it was all related to. Like I liked how Penguin was like he was just another mob guy. Oh, and Penguin Colin Farrell was awesome.
Oh, he was so good.
So good.
He was
so good.
So
and I love
good.
that. And if there's going to be a number 2, it's looking like he's going to be
stepping up to the plate.
I would think, or at least they left it so he could, and it was great. I remember we were talking with the trailer, like, oh, why would you cast him as this kind of person when you could just go get that kind of person?
Yes.
And I could see why now that I've seen it.
Yeah.
Because him doing the character is so much funnier than just grabbing that character. You know what I mean? It gave it sort of that like Italian mob kind of, I don't know about Italian, it's just have it say Italian, but that mafia type guy, that New York type guy.
I think it was like this portrayal of the Penguin was performance based more than the look based. They gave him a look that you could say, okay, people would call him the Penguin because of this, but it was more like just a nickname. But it was like, here is this guy. Like, he definitely stands out. He looks weird. You could find him in a crowd, but he's just this dude. It's not about like a guy that was raised by penguins and, orphan. There was no, he's just a
cartoon. He's not a cartoon character.
Yeah, he's just a straight up like mobster. Speaking of mobsters, how'd you like John Turturro? He was on par with the rest of them as Falcone.
Did we know he was going to be Falcone? Because if we did, I completely forgot. And when you see him through her eyes, through that, the cameras that she has on, so it's kind of that funny look to it, and you could barely see him. I'm like, is that John Turturro? And then I seen him, I got like chills. He was great.
Oh yeah, but it was something. It was one of those things that you heard. We had this conversation before because we forgot when we did the Batman, the teaser for this Batman. We both forgot Andy Serkis was in it. And then we forgot about this thing had so much going on that it was like things flew under the radar. You know what I mean? Because
Serkis was great. Serkis was great as him, and so much better. The last one was terrible. The actor bit might be a good actor. I'm not saying him, but it's
like, oh, you get yourself a date.
And it was like the first thing he said. It was like, oh, maybe get yourself a family finally. And I was like, okay. And then they said his next line was like the same thing, like, oh, meet yourself a girl.
Yeah.
Like, okay, we get it. He wants you to settle down. Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Once again, it almost makes things worse for Affleck because he just got sandwiched between two better Batmans. It's not even
Well, I say he took a lot of heat for it, and
it's not on him. It's on the whole movie.
Not on him. It's just there was a lot going on in that one that wasn't him. His movie was terrible. I don't think he was.
I liked Jeffrey Wright as James Gordon because I was in love with the Gary Oldman Commissioner Gordon. I thought it would never be better than that. But Jeffrey Wright, the Gordon in this one,
it's up there. Yeah. And he's up there with the other one.
Just because he had that relationship with Batman, but once again, it's like they popped you. You know what it felt like? It felt like they just dropped you into this universe that had been going for a while. You know what I mean? Like I felt like this thing was established. You're watching the ninth Batman of this movie. You could believe that Commissioner Gordon and this Batman had a history. That's how there was no discovery. It was like
there's no let me introduce you to this world. It's no, you're just in this world.
Yeah, we're dropping you in. Figure it out.
And if you're previous fans, you'll recognize some things. If you're not, don't worry. We've paid attention, and it's hard for me to say because I do know the things. It'd be interesting.
Exactly.
I'd like to talk to a young kid that hasn't seen it, see how lost he was. 'Cause I don't think there's anything that
No, I think
that seeing the origin would have, or not. Well, would have added to it, but it wouldn't. It didn't. You weren't lost because you didn't see his origin. It didn't make a difference.
if you were a newcomer coming into it, like, oh, this cop has this relationship with this bat in this costume, and as you see the movie go, like, oh wow, these guys really trust each other, and here's the deal. Like, I think it was set up like kind of newcomer friendly. It is hard because it's like, who hasn't heard of Batman? Like, who's the guy walking
the first
there?
Batman, the first Batman didn't do an origin. Michael Keaton said that him and I don't know if he was telling Tim Burton or whoever else was involved, but he was saying he was pushing for there to be an origin story. Imagine a Michael Keaton origin story. That would have been interesting. But I don't remember his movie so well because we were young when we seen that. But
there was the parents
and
getting
I never
killed.
went back to it.
There was
the
the parents
getting killed, but it wasn't like a whole origin.
No, like how did he put together things and everything? No, that was Batman Begins. Batman Begins was like, let's realistically try to construct Batman, and maybe that was an advantage of this one. But that it was like you kind of got it in your head, like it almost benefited from like, okay, they've made Batman believable to a point where it's like somebody else could step in and do it.
Yeah, and that's how it should be. Is now it's like a comic book because I can pick up, when we're reading comic books as a kid. I always go back to Spider-Man because I'm a Spider-Man fan first. But there was Amazing Spider-Man, and then there was just the Spider-Man series. Remember that one? And that was the one that we and you got into. Yeah. And it was just like, okay, here I am in this one. Here's this world. All right, the girl looks like this now. Okay, whatever.
Yeah, because there's like Amazing Spider-Man, Spectacular Spider-Man. There's like 5 books. You're just dropped into this story. Like, oh, this one's focusing on Harry and Peter. Oh, this one's focusing on Venom. You know what I mean? And it's just like, oh, here's this guy's interpretation of this story. Here's a story I'm presenting you. Like, here's a cool Venom Spider-Man story.
There's some other good ones. What do you think of Zoe Kravitz?
That stuff was great. That stuff was real. That might have been the best. I'm trying to think. Yeah, I think so. I think that was the best Batman Catwoman chemistry ever.
The best chemistry between them, and just her on her own. It was the most interesting one of all. That was definitely my favorite one
because it wasn't.
She's very good.
Yeah, like the tension and everything, and the chemistry and the because they're both bad. And they're both trying to help each other and hurt each other, and it was that was really that. Yeah, I think that was my favorite Catwoman out of all of them. Yeah, because the one
it's Halle Berry, and it's I can't remember her name, but the girl that
Michelle Pfeiffer.
Michelle Pfeiffer. She was good.
Yeah, she was good, and she was like originated the thing. But I'm saying, hers was
it's
different.
Hard to compare. It's hard to compare anything to Tim Burton's movies because Tim Burton's movies are in a class all of their own.
Yeah, it's like Edward Scissorhands. There's nothing else like that.
Yeah, and Beetlejuice. That's him, right?
So it's like you can't. He does have Beetlejuice.
Yeah, it just can't. Yeah, you can't compare the two because that's like
in its own world.
That's like a cartoon, but in a good way.
Yeah, but definitely better than
hers was great.
Yeah, I hate that. You know what?
Modern ones.
I keep sinking into that. Like, it was better. Like, I gotta stop doing that and just say like, this was, this one was good.
Yeah, but
you gotta compare.
We reviewed one. We're reviewing the other.
I definitely liked it better than the last Catwoman. Who was the last Catwoman from the Dark Knight trilogy?
Anne Hathaway.
Yeah, Anne Hathaway. She's like, well, you said it to me once. You were like, if you didn't tell me she was Catwoman, I wouldn't have known. like they're trying to push her as Catwoman.
But you know what? She was good. She just wasn't. It's just a Catwoman until like the couple high kicks she threw. You didn't know it was Catwoman.
Yeah, it's
like, okay, she's like,
we have a conflict and a romance, so it's like the bare bones. But this is the Catwoman. It's like, we're getting in each other's heads, kind of thing, and it was good.
Robert Pattinson as Batman was great. Now as Bruce Wayne, when Bruce Wayne walks up to anything, I go, "Oh, there's Batman."
Yeah,
like he looks like Batman even without the suit on.
Yeah, like he's walking like pissed off and quiet, as if he's Batman.
He's like, "I'm Bruce Wayne." Like, are you sure? Batman.
I'll take one hot dog. Yeah, he just he's brooding like, Bruce, try to smile a little bit, dude. You're like blowing your cover. Like,
did you order a hot dog, sir? I am the hot dog. Yes,
I am. Guy. I'm the hot dog this city needs. Yeah, he went to
the hot dog that you have on your tray. I need that.
Like, he's got to go make appearances. I think he's still got like the black eye makeup on.
Yeah. The Riddler was good. Paul Dano, and it was funny. I forgot who he was, who the actor was, and he came on. And I'm usually pretty good at remembering voices. And even though we just talked about it, and
What's he
I
from?
I don't remember who it was. I couldn't name another thing that he's from. I've just seen him around.
Oh, you were just saying it like.
He was just one of those guys, where like I don't know, when I seen the trailer, and we were doing the trailer episode, and I seen who it was. Like, oh, that guy, I love that guy. But I couldn't name anything else he's in.
Yeah, no,
he was. Look it up. I'm not that interested. But
no, he wasn't.
He was good. He was very good.
The stuff they did with the storyline with the parents and the whole crime thing was kind of cool because it was like a nice little.
Yeah.
Because I didn't think they'd have a twist.
Turn.
Yeah,
that was a twist I didn't see coming, and I didn't know where it was going. I'm like, oh, how bad is it going to turn out?
Yeah, because I'm like,
you can't mess with that. That's something you couldn't mess with too much. You can't mess with that story.
Yeah, they threw you for a loop, like they were reinventing the wheel, but then they throw it back. Then Alfred, when he has a conversation with Alfred, it throws it back to like, no, he just kind of messed up, and that's I can accept that.
He was saving her name, and he was asking for, put some pressure on him.
Yeah, he wasn't trying to win an election. He was trying to, like, protect his wife. And then it was like
keep her from maybe going nuts again.
And he knew he didn't expect the guy to kill him. He knew he'd be in his pocket. He threatened to go to police. That's what got him killed. So it's like, okay, that's okay. You know what I'm saying? He's like, oh, guy made a mistake. And that's how Alfred explained it, and Bruce accepted that and went back with it. It wasn't so much as like the Batman before that was like his parents were just good, like philanthropists trying to save Gotham and everything. And they still were in this one. The guy just made a mistake. Instead of just walking down a back alley like you're a millionaire, it's like, okay, you got accidentally mixed up in some shady stuff. And guess what? You are in a corrupt town. So it kind of bleeds in a little more naturally. You know what I'm saying? It's like you're in Gotham, you got mixed up with some bad people, and I kind of get it.
Yeah, at that level, you're in these circles and you're in this town.
And even the story that Falcone tells him in the beginning, how Bruce's dad saved him with from a knife wound or something, a Hippocratic oath or whatever. But it still goes back to like, that's how he's in the company. It was all just circumstance, like a series of unfortunate events kind of thing that led to their relationship. And even like Catwoman's tied into that same circle.
Oh, do you think the Falcone, when Falcone died, he recognized Batman as Bruce Wayne? I kind of seen it. I thought maybe he was going to say something because he did the whole thing, how he was looking up and he looked right in his eyes when he was doing the surgery on him, and then he's dying. He's looking at Batman, and it looked like a kind of light bulb went off in his head. Did you catch that, or maybe I was just like wishful thinking?
I did kind of catch something, and you know what? I think you're right, Bob. I can't remember if I'm remembering it because you're explaining it to me, but I think I thought the same thing.
I think
like there was some kind of like
he'd say something like Bruce or some, but he.
Yeah, I did catch that.
John Turturro is so good. He is so. I seen him. I was like, okay, like not only, and it was early in the movie where he's seen him too. I was like, oh, okay, this is gonna be good.
You know my thing with John Turturro, and I know he's been in a lot of good stuff. I just see him and I just go Transformers right away, where he was like the biggest like Jar Jar Binks in that movie.
Oh,
and I'm just like,
you really
I haven't seen
the worst one to think of.
No, but I haven't seen like I've missed some good stuff, or I've forgotten some good stuff. I know there is good stuff, or I've seen him in some Adam Sandler movies, but I'm like, wow, he's freaking good. He was just so silent and subtle and just cool.
Yes.
It was very natural.
There was no putting on a show. It was more like humble, but not so much humble. You know what I mean? He's
powerful, but he's not Kingpin.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
He didn't have to sell you on it. He let everything around, everyone's reaction to him sell you on it. He was just, real low key. Oh, hey, at the end, was that the district attorney guy? Was that him that was in the other room and like the insane asylum? Because I thought it was going to be the Joker at first. When the Riddler's the Riddler's in the cell at the end.
Yeah.
Right? And the other guy's talking to him and saying he's his friend.
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's a Joker.
Was that in there?
That was a Joker.
Is it really?
I'm pretty sure.
Now, is it the same actor Joker? Is it Joaquin Phoenix?
No. It was really, I think it's what made it so subtle. And how far they're going to go into that is, and I think I caught like a thing of his smile, but then they made it a point to really zero in on his laugh. Like,
Yeah, it seemed like they were talking about the Joker, but I thought since the Joker was such a successful movie, I was like, they didn't get a different one, did they?
I think,
But then again, they're very good at getting rid of our favorite
yeah.
favorite actors in the DC universe. Like, oh, you like this Superman? This is the only good thing we got going. Yeah, we're gonna get rid of that. He's gone. He's out.
Well, it's kind of weird because I don't know. Maybe DC's long game is actually better, and we're not going to know till the end because we're all like, why couldn't you pull off an MCU? And it's like, well, even after this Doctor Strange, like, how long could they keep that ball going? You know, they're doing this multiverse thing to like spice things up, but I don't know. I think
maybe they're onto something.
they might be.
I'm just skimming, and yeah, it's looking like they didn't officially say he was the Joker, but they're thinking he was. Well, I thought it was. I'm thinking on the way home, like, okay, I didn't think it was the Joker because it says, okay, it's not Joaquin Phoenix, so it's not the Joker. Which now that we're talking, maybe it was. They're leaving at least the possibility of a new Joker.
Yeah.
But I was thinking maybe it was Two-Face. I was like, okay, maybe the district attorney guy is going to be the Two-Face character.
Oh no, because that would have been Harvey Dent specifically. Like they would have made a point to say it would be a twist having the Joker be inspired by the Riddler. You know, make the Riddler the alpha villain. Like that.
Yeah.
Maybe the Joker's a copycat of the Riddler or something, or just a freaking crazy guy. You know, but
yeah. Now the Riddler in the beginning, he's the first guy you see killing someone.
yeah.
So that might not have actually been him. That might have been one of his henchmen, follower guys.
When they showed that first scene, I was positive that was Bruce Wayne's parents getting killed. You know?
Yeah.
I thought that's what was happening. I thought the kid with the sword was going to be Batman. And it's kind of funny how when they show Batman zeroing in on the orphan, when they show Bruce like make that eye contact and looking at the orphan and thinking, it's so powerful because of what we know in general.
Yes.
And they're like, oh,
Yeah.
like they just dug into a lot of stuff like that you just like,
Yeah.
you know, use your imagination, but yeah, we're going there. It's there.
Yeah.
You're catching
Yeah.
it.
That's one where the little kid looks at you like, why are you crying, Dad? I'm like, you
Yeah.
can see it.
Yeah.
I know what that look means.
What about the Batmobile? That's how engrossed.
Oh my God.
So engrossed in
that
the
is the
movie,
best.
I forgot like he needs a Batmobile. Like
Yeah.
I wasn't even looking like where's the Batmobile? Like I totally forgot. Like, oh yeah, he has a car.
You never even see it. But because of that, it's the best one. And I almost got up in the theater. I was like, okay, I think it's a good point to go to the bathroom. It says, oh, wait a minute, hold on. There might be something cool coming up. And that was by far the coolest scene in it.
Yeah.
And when they're looking at the car in the distance, and I got chill bumps right now.
Yeah, and they
thinking
show
of it.
like
That was so cool.
And like, all you know is it has a big like turbo booster on it. Like, yep, that's definitely a Batmobile. Well, no matter how you dress that thing up, it's like, yep, that's a Batmobile.
Yeah.
And then the car chase with Penguin, which we saw from the trailers, and I forgot about that whole scene.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah.
And it was it was great. And you know what else I liked? They threw that Kurt Cobain music in there. I thought that was just for the trailer.
Oh yeah. They threw that in there, and then was that in the car chase too? Because I remember there was something awesome blasting in the car chase. But that was shot so well, and I actually thought there's another car scene I seen that it reminded me of, or car chase scene, and I looked it up, and it wasn't the same director, but something that they do real good because like they showed the point of view of it, which you don't see in a lot of car chases. You know,
Yeah.
you've seen it from the car, the first person thing, and the weather. Like it's raining while it's happening, and they're like losing control and everything. It seemed like more kind of immersed. You know, versus seeing it from like far away stuntmen flying cars off things. You know what I mean? It seemed like you felt like more in it, and not where it was moving so fast, like you were getting like seasick from it. I thought it just shot really well.
I know this Batman theme. There's a Batman theme in this movie that has like this boom, boom, boom. Like it has like this big bass buildup. And
Yeah.
the way they did the instrumentals on that old Kurt Cobain song, because I think it's basically his vocals and his guitar, and everything else is like there's like a whole orchestra behind him. But they did that same. They kind of synchronized those things to make them like fit together into the soundtrack. And I actually looked
Yeah,
up.
there's some kind of big I don't know how to say it, but like horns or something went off right when it happened.
There's definitely a theme for this Batman. Like he has a theme, and you could find that. I couldn't find. Now somebody put together a cool. I sent it to you today. The somebody made an extended version of the Kurt Cobain thing, because I don't know if it's actually been fully made or was just for that little 2-minute clip, but like people have been mixing different remixes of it. But the actual Batman theme is out there. So I was looking for the Batman soundtrack. So I don't know if that Kurt Cobain theme's officially out there, but I was just glad that it was actually in the movie and not just like a trailer trick. You know, like a little like, hey, let's do something for the trailer. Like, no, we put 2 minutes of it in there. It's just cool, man. In general, I don't know if this ties into the DCU, and I don't know how important it is to have a DCU. Like, do I need Superman to meet this Batman? I don't think so, you know? I'm kind of cool with this by itself. And you and me both love that Henry Cavill Man of Steel, but that don't look like it's happening. So I don't think this Batman needs to be in the Justice League. I just like him where he is.
Yeah, and maybe that's a problem with, you know what, and we've indirectly said it before, but it's with the DC Universe doing Justice League and the new Batman all together when they did, you know, it's like you have this Gotham look in this Gotham world, but then they just have somebody like fly into it, you know?
Yeah.
And then, you know what I mean? And Marvel just made it, they just pulled that off better to where, like even pulling Daredevil into the Avengers. It's like, okay, they pulled him in for a cameo, you know, but how can you justify Daredevil being just as cool as those guys when like he's fighting, you know, 2 thugs at a time in the street, and Thor's like blowing up continents with his you know, his hammer. It's like to merge the worlds together is difficult. It's like, okay, Gotham's straight now. They got Gotham awesome. You know, they got this crime boss thing where instead of it's just, you know, it's the crime boss is the whole problem. This whole crime family, you know, and I like how Penguin's in the crime family and not just his own thing.
Yeah, it'd be nice to see a continuation. Just make it like, instead of like the next villain, the next adventure, just continue the one story and have like, where does Penguin go from here? And even Bruce at the end is like, I got to change things. Like, I can't just be vengeance. I got to be a symbol of like some kind of hope for this community and make the, you know, right now the cops get me, but like make the town kind of see him as the hero kind of stuff. Make his story
or
develop.
Him giving back too. I thought they were touching on that, and that's where I thought they were going. When it looked like he was the last victim when he said that, when it was coming towards the end, it's like, okay, Riddler's going after him.
Yeah.
And I thought that's where I was going, was he wasn't donating. The mayor said how he's not donating to charities like he was. Yeah. I thought that's why he was the next thing. It was like, oh, well, the orphanage went out because you didn't pay the orphanage bill, you know, so we had to close it down.
Yeah, do some stuff as Bruce Wayne. You know, you are Bruce Wayne.
So maybe the next movie will you know, all right, throw a little Bruce Wayne action in there, because he just looked like Batman to me out of the costume.
Yeah.
But that you know, it was still good.
Yeah.
That it just showed that, okay, it's definitely a flaw in him. He's not, you know, maybe that catches up to him. It's an opportunity for a storyline.
Yeah, instead of like the last Batman, instead of like, well, Christian Bale, the whole thing was like, well, you need to act like Bruce Wayne, and he would, you know, get in a hot tub with the girls and stuff just to put on appearances. Yeah. Why not, instead of doing that, make it like, no, let me hit the town from both ends. Like, let me do the things I can do as Bruce Wayne, and maybe Bruce Wayne's actually got to become a person for me to do these things. You know what I mean? Instead of just like me just being Batman pretending to be Bruce Wayne, because even that's been said before. But the Riddler said, "Oh, that's your mask. Your mask is Bruce Wayne," and that was touched upon with Christian Bale. But like, no, maybe I'll develop this Bruce Wayne to like actually do stuff on both ends. You know, do what I can politically, philanthropy wise. You know.
Yeah, it'd be a good storyline. It wouldn't be as good as him punching people in the face, though.
No, that's still give us more of that.
It's got to be more of that. It's something that they there's room for, like it's room or something for them to touch on, you know?
Yeah.
Definitely. Like, have him like, okay, have him start fixing the town from there. And
I think the best thing they did was, as many iterations of Batman, this was the first one, I would believe, that actually just jumped all into that, like, the detective part of him. You know what I mean? Like, Batman, the detective. You know, like
Batman, the detective part of him, and it wasn't so much about the supervillains, but actually the case was interesting. This is the first time where, like, you're really following the case, where I needed to step away from it for a second Which, by the way, I wish 3 hours. They should have done a 6-episode series. Would have been much more.
Oh, it was on HBO Max.
Yeah, they could have done it on HBO and just broken into episodes. That really would have
Made a
helped
TV
out.
show. Yeah,
3 hours is a long time. Yeah.
Yeah, there still needs to be an intermission.
Long, but you got to step away. And also, like, I took my eyes off the screen for a second, and it was right when I guess the guy stepped away and the Riddler was right behind him. I took my eyes off the screen for a second, like I've seen something shiny, and the girl next to me went, "Oh," and I look up, and the guy's standing there. I'm like, "God dang it, I missed it!" And I'm thinking to myself, I literally thought to myself, like, "Oh, I should rewind it." And I'm like, "Oh, you can't do that. I'm in a movie theater." let me just yell out, you know.
Oh, you know, it's cool.
Rewind it.
It was the cool thing is this one comes out on HBO Max, so it's very nice to know that you're not waiting for like we're waiting for Spider-Man, which will be the end of this month. But it's nice to know, like, hey, you know what? In about a month, I think we'll be able to watch it again and dig deep and hit it up again.
Yeah.
And, you know, actually read into it and actually pause it and go to the bathroom.
Yeah. One thing I gotta say before we forget. Well, we said it sort of already, but definitely my favorite fighting of all of them.
Yeah.
Like, the fight scenes in it were awesome. And it was, you know, he busted out some cool toys and everything, and it was awesome. But it was, you know, because to fight off like multiple people, it's, you know, it's always ridiculous. It's like, all right, how can you beat up more than one person at a time? Like, how does that really happen?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And he's still like the first one when he's fighting that gang in the like
they made it look hard. They made it look like he's having a hard time doing it.
They made it look, they made it look like hard, like difficult. Yeah.
Yeah, like he's taking a couple hits and then
he's taking hits.
Yeah.
And he's not just shaking them off, like he's busted afterwards.
Yeah. And even on the roof, the grand finale where he comes in and saves the day, it's like he's overwhelmed and he's taking some hits. You know, it was he was you know, he was what's the word?
Rough and like emotional. It was emotional beatings too, you know, like you're like, oh, you're like really feeling for him. Or like what was it when Catwoman and him are fighting up on that bridge on the top too? I almost forgot that part. That was awesome.
I did forget about it.
It looks like he's gonna get it's looking like he's gonna get killed, and then the guy takes her off of him just when he's like going to sleep, and he just sees like, you know, the girl gets ripped away from. And I thought that was going to turn out to be somebody when they took off his mask, but it was just another Riddler follower. I'm pretty sure it was just another one of the Riddler guys. Yeah. But for some reason, he took his mask off. They're like, let's see who this is under there. I'm like, oh crap, who's it going to be?
There was a dude at the funeral that I thought was the Riddler. There was a dude at the funeral that said something to him and was like, oh yeah, she ain't going to do nothing. I don't know. He said something about a funeral.
Yeah.
And I was like, we're going to see him.
A lot of things like that.
Yeah, I was like, oh, he's going to be the Riddler.
We're going to see him again.
yeah, never saw him again. I thought that's what was going to happen when they pull a dude's mask off. I was like, nope, let's go nowhere.
Yeah, but you know what? It's good that they did that. You know, throw you a couple. It wasn't just
throw you some loops.
So obvious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because then when you see the Riddler, it's like, oh, he's just a dude, you know.
Yeah. Oh, he's just that's him. That's the Riddler. That's the guy they're all scared of.
Yeah.
That's not that big of a deal. and then it turns out that it's a big major deal. You know, it's funny. I thought it was over too. And I was like getting up thinking we were done, and then it kicked into the whole last part, like you know.
Yeah.
The whole last I don't want to say battle, but yeah, kind of battle fight, whatever.
And you know what? It was on the lines of the same stuff that happened in like Dark Knight Rises, but it felt a little more smaller scale. You know, it felt a little more. I don't know. It didn't feel like it got too out of hand at the end.
It wasn't helicopters having to fly around to get the last shot.
And nothing wrong with the other movies, but I'm just saying, like, it didn't break. The stakes got raised, but it didn't break the tone of the movie. That's what I'm saying. You know what I mean? It didn't get too away from itself, where it was like, all right, now we're just getting all silly and throwing, you know. It was it was good. It was, like I said, it was engaging Batman story. That's how I felt. Like, you know, I was just glued to it.
Yeah, it was glued to it, and it was like a standalone movie.
Yeah,
where that could be it, and not that I'd be happy about it, but it wasn't just building up. There was a beginning and there was an end.
Yes.
To the storyline in the movie.
Yeah,
you usually don't get those anymore in comic book movies because they're so worried about the next one.
Yeah,
like you didn't have to sit and wait for the credits to see. All right, well, let me see what's going on in the next episode of this. It's like, no, the movie's done. There might have been a scene, might not.
Yeah.
But it's like, okay, that movie's done. Catwoman was good. I hope she comes back if there is another one.
Like I said, pleasant surprise. I really enjoyed it, Bob. I'm glad you did too. I saw it before you, and I was like, oh, I hope Bob goes today. Glad you did. It was fun. Good. Hats off to everybody involved. It was definitely awesome interpretation of Batman, and that's the fun thing about these comic guys. And it's part of the heritage of comic books. It's different interpretations of characters. So glad to see it.
Yeah.
Bob, thanks for being here. And
yeah, buddy.
We'll see you guys in a few weeks.